Nightcast. Stephen Lloyd Gilbreth brings you the current news from the world today and how it relates to Bible prophecy. Understanding the end-time events leading to the peaceful world tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Lloyd Gilbreth.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to this January 4, 2015 edition of Nightcast. Opening story tonight, friends, a BBC crew has filmed what appears to be the debris from missing AirAsia flight QZ8501. The plane was carrying 162 people when it ran aground, when it disappeared. I should say when it disappeared en route from Surabaya in Indonesia to Singapore on December 28. Search teams aboard a helicopter were flying over the sea near Pangkalan Bun off Borneo, where the plane is thought to have come down. Dani Sinha reports.
Jet believed to be part of the plane has now been spotted underwater. Well, we've just got these pictures in from a BBC cameraman who managed to get a place on board a helicopter once the rain clouds cleared over Pangkalan Bun in Borneo. You can see debris like this. There you go, scattered right across the search area. Visibility, I should point out, though, over the Java Sea is still very poor. In fact, soon after takeoff, the helicopter had to turn back to base before reaching the crash site because of heavy rains.
And friends, next story related to the first seal of Revelation. You know, we primarily cover, I do have the chart we can put up on the screen for a moment. Now, we're working on our chart. We're working on I tested it this weekend on our Sabbath service channel. We're working on a new Alpha Studio that we'll probably put up on this channel by midweek, or at least by the end of this week. But you can see on our chart here, right in the middle of the chart, there are 6 seals showing there. 4 of those seals are very active, and most of our stories relate to those 4 seals. Now, in the next few days, I hope to, as we get the Alpha Studio online, I hope to do a close-up shot on these seals. But this next story relates to the first seal, the white horse, which is related to big religions. That's all I'm going to say about that tonight. This is the Pope's second big set of cardinal appointments. That's the caption with this opening photograph. Pope Francis has named 20 new cardinals, including churchmen from Tonga, Ethiopia, and Myanmar. Also one from Germany, I'll mention by name a little later in the story. 15 of the new appointees are under 80 years old, making them eligible to enter a conclave to elect the Pope's successor, should there be a successor. Pope Francis, you know, this pope could be the last pope before the 7th and final head of the Holy Roman Empire is put into office, who will be coronated by a pope, and he'll be appointed by 10 kings, 5 from the east, 5 from the west, according to the Bible, who give their power to what the Bible calls a beast for 1 hour, meaning a short time. And the Bible calls that the 7th and final head of the Holy Roman Empire. It will be not only a revival of the Holy Roman Empire, but it will become the time of Jacob's trouble. It'll be the time of World War III. It'll be the time of the greatest martyrdom of God's saints ever to occur in the history of man. And in fact, the whole period of that time will be called the Great Tribulation, which Jesus Christ, as he nominated it or named it the Great Tribulation, described this time to be a time of trouble that was such that there's never been a trouble like it since the beginning of the world. Let me read it to you exactly as it's stated by Christ, as recorded in Matthew 24, verse 21 and 22. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So there's no time before it, no time after it. It's as bad as this time is going to be. Christ goes on to say, and except that those days be shortened, no man, no flesh would be saved alive. But for the elect's sake, he says in that next verse, he will cut it short by intervening to save man, save mankind from man. Pope Francis said the appointment of cardinals from 14 countries from every continent in the world showed the Vatican's, quote, inseparable link with Catholic churches around the world. They will be formally installed on February 14. That's the world's Valentine's Day, Valentino. Pope Francis also announced earlier today that he would lead a meeting of all cardinals to discuss reform of the Roman Curia, the Vatican's administrative body, on the 12th and 13th of February, the 2 days preceding the induction of these new cardinals. The list of names includes 5 retired bishops who will join the College of Cardinals but are over 80 and so cannot take part in a papal election, according to Vatican rules. And the caption, friends, with this photograph that's part of this story reads, "The College of Cardinals is made up of the Church's most senior officials who are usually ordained bishops." It's the second time, friends, that Pope Francis has announced the appointment of new cardinals from a wide variety of countries. Last January, a year ago, he named 19 new additions, including churchmen from Haiti and Burkina Faso, which a Vatican spokesman said reflected his commitment to the poor. Appointing cardinals is the most powerful way for the Pope to shape the Catholic Church, says the BBC's religious affairs correspondent Caroline Wyatt. The Pope has now chosen over a quarter of all cardinals able to vote for the next Pope. With his appointments, Pope Francis appears to be trying to reflect the diversity and growth of the Church in developing nations, the correspondent adds. In his pre-Christmas address to cardinals, Pope Francis sharply criticized the Vatican bureaucracy, complaining of spiritual Alzheimer's and the terrorism of gossip. He wants to see an overhaul of the Church, bringing it closer to ordinary people. He has previously said the Roman Catholic Church must strip itself of all vanity, arrogance, and pride, and humbly serve the poorest in society. His latest appointment of these 20 new cardinals includes titular Archbishop Karl Joseph Robber of Germany, Cardinal Emeritus, who's a Cardinal Emeritus without voting rights. In brief, that means he's over 80 years old, basically. In brief, Pope Francis, born in Argentina, is the first Latin American to lead the Roman Catholic Church, as well as being the first Jesuit. Now, friends, going over to the Middle East now, a story from Egypt. Egyptian archaeologists find unknown queen's tomb. The caption for this opening photograph reads, Abu Sir was used as a cemetery for the ancient Egyptian capital of Memphis. Archaeologists in Egypt have unearthed the tomb of a previously unknown queen, Egyptian officials say. The tomb was found in Abu Sir, southwest of Cairo, and is thought to belong to the wife or mother of Pharaoh Neferef, who ruled 4,500 years ago. Egypt Antiquities Minister Memdou El-Damati said that her first name had been found inscribed on a wall in Necropolis. Let me see if I can take a shot at her first name. Kentakawes, her first name, found inscribed on a wall in the Necropolis. Don't hold me to that pronunciation, friends. But Mr. El-Damati added that this would make her Kentakawes III. The tomb was discovered in Pharaoh Neferefre's funeral complex. These Egyptian names. I'm sorry, friends. I'm not so sure how to pronounce these. Microslav Barta, head of the Czech Institute of Egyptology mission who made the discovery, said that the location of the queen's tomb made them believe that she was the wife of the pharaoh. The Czech archaeologist also found about 30 utensils made of limestone and copper. Mr. El-Damati explained that the discovery would, quote, help us shed light on certain unknown aspects of the Fifth Dynasty, which, along with the Fourth Dynasty, witnessed the construction of the first pyramids. Abu Sir was used as an Old Kingdom cemetery for the ancient Egyptian capital of Memphis. And friends, on now to a story that relates to oil and gas. That's should be a very interesting story to many of us because, you know, it affects how much we pay for gas at the pumps. The caption with this first photograph for the opening of the story reads, President Maduro, in the green shirt, announced an economic recovery program before heading to China. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro is beginning an international tour to try to stem the impact of falling oil prices and a deepening recession. Well, many of us have been very happy about those falling oil prices. Every time we go to the gas pump and fill up, and if you're going to take a trip, good time to take it while the prices are down. Too bad they can't work something out where the prices stay down, but their other problems are resolved, where they don't throw everything into recession. Mr. Maduro, again, in that green shirt here at the very center and back of the photograph, Mr. Maduro goes first to China, a major source of loans for Venezuela, for talks with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. He will then travel to various OPEC member countries to press for cuts in oil output that would boost prices. Venezuelan oil prices have dropped by half since June. The country gets most of its foreign currency from oil exports and is estimated to have the largest oil reserves in the world. Before he left for Venezuela, Mr. Maduro announced a number of new mechanisms aimed at addressing the country's economic crisis. He said he would create a strategic reserve, appoint a new board to run the organization that manages currency exchange, and create new agencies to manage the distribution of commodities. President Maduro has said his country is suffering the consequences of an economic war launched by United States President Barack Obama, quote, to destroy the oil producers' cartel, OPEC. He has accused the U.S. of flooding the markets with oil as part of an economic war against Russia. The Venezuelan opposition blames the country's economic crisis and shortages of many staples such as corn oil and milk on the socialist policies of Mr. Maduro and his late predecessor, Hugo Chavez. And then, friends, one last story from tonight's news that we'll cover here regarding a cargo ship that was grounded deliberately in Solent, according to this story. The caption with this opening photograph reads, Hoegh Osaka's CEO Hoegh Osaka says salvage experts will look at the design of the vessel, a car transporter ship that was grounded in the Solent deliberately after it began to list, its owners have said. The Hoegh Osaka was run aground off the Isle of Wight on Saturday evening after developing problems once it had left Southampton, Hoegh Osaka said. He's the chief executive of Hoegh Osaka. The ship is now listing at more than 50 degrees, and a salvage operation is expected to take several days. However, no oil is thought to have leaked from the ship. Mr. Osaka said it was too early to speculate on the cause of the accident and thanked the rescue teams who took all 25 crew on board to safety. He said 2 crew members had been taken to hospital with minor injuries. And this is a map of the area where this occurred, friends. You can see the Solent in between the 2 layers of land toward the bottom of the photograph. The MCA said the vessel was not in a shipping channel, so there was no impact on other ships in the area. The transporter, registered in Singapore, set sail from Southampton. You can see up there at the top of your picture, Southampton, at about 2020 Greenwich Mean Time on Saturday. The 51,000-ton ship, which was laden with 1,400 cars, had been on its way to Germany when it developed a problem. 4 RNLI lifeboats, as well as the Solent Coast Guard helicopter, were involved in the rescue. And, friends, that's it for our shorter report tonight. This Sunday edition of Nightcast. God willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll be back again tomorrow evening, Monday night, with the day's current news related to the Bible and prophecy here on Nightcast. Until next time, this is your host, Stephen Lloyd Gilbreth, saying so long and good night, friends.
You have been watching Nightcast with Stephen Lloyd Gilbreth. Nightcast can be seen Sunday through Thursday nights here on cogtv.org. Tonight's program is also available anytime on demand in the cogtv.org video archive.